Yo, what is going on, Senpai Squad? Welcome back to a brand new video, and today we've got the review for Chapter 1 of Eden's Zero, HIRO Mashima's brand new manga, the creator of Fairy Tail. And straight away going into this, I was a little bit skeptical. I didn't know what to expect because, for those of you who don't know, Fairy Tail was my very first anime, and it's what got me into anime. So I have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with it because I'm not going to lie, it's not the best, it's kind of poorly written, and it's had its ups and downs. So I didn't know if Eden Zero would be the same, because leading up to the release, we saw pictures of it and artists and HIRO Mashima's drawings of the main characters. And straight away we could see that they're very reminiscent of Fairy Tail characters, to the point where they almost look identical. But I thought I'd give it a shot anyway. I did record a live reaction to it, and if you really want to see that video, then let me know and I can always upload it. But basically, before recording that video, I didn't realise it was going to be 81 chapters long, pages long. So it kind of got to the point of being a half an hour long reaction, and I didn't really want to upload that because I didn't think it'd be the best of content. But I thought we'd stick to a review instead. I'm not too sure if this is going to be a weekly or monthly series. I'm 90% sure it's going to be monthly, but I don't know if there's any full-on confirmation of that. So if there is, please let me know in the comment section down below. Anyway, into the review. Straight away, I'm going to answer most of your questions. Is it similar to Fairy Tail? And the honest answer, yeah. Yeah, it is. It is similar to a Fairy Tail. However, it's a bit like Fairy Tail in the way that, you know, you can kind of see where it's going and the whole friendship thing. But one of the things with Fairy Tail is no matter how much I wanted to hate on it at times, I'd come down to sit and watch an episode and I'd come out enjoying it. So it did something right, and Eden Zero, whatever it is, does that same thing right. So it's similar to Fairy Tail. However, I still thoroughly enjoyed this first chapter. I thought it was a fantastic chapter and it got me hooked, which is what the first chapter is meant to do. So it definitely did its job, whether it was similar to Fairy Tail or not. Basically, some of the similarities between Eden Zero and Fairy Tail, you've got obviously the art style there and the character designs. They are absolutely identical to Fairy Tail, without a doubt. The main two characters, the girl looks identical to Lucy, and the main character, I think his name was Shiki, he's kind of a mix between Grey and Natsu. But other than that, you've got dragons. They're not biological dragons, if that's the right way to word it, but they're like these huge mechanical, like, spaceship dragon things in space. I'm not 100% sure what they are, but they're these huge robotic dragons that fly throughout space. Other similarities, we've got Happy. It is 100% Happy. At first I didn't know if it was going to be someone similar to Happy, and it's just got the same design, because looking at all the other characters, that was plausible, but it is actually Happy. We've also got Plu, who's going to make a reappearance. However, we didn't see Plu in this chapter, so I'm not too sure who's going to have Plu this time around, because obviously in Fairy Tail, Lucy had Plu, but the equivalent of Lucy, I think her name is Rebecca, she has Happy in this. So where Plu's going to come from, I'm not too sure. The other thing was personalities. Rebecca's personality is very similar to Lucy's, and Shiki's similarity is very similar to Natsu's, almost to the point where they're identical. So yeah, that was another thing. The other one is we saw a little bit of a flashback right at the start to seeing where Shiki was young. And in that flashback, we saw this robotic being, who we then found out later on to be, I think it was the Demon King. He brought up Shiki and became his grandpa, as Shiki called him. Not biological, obviously, because he was a machine. Shiki is a human. And that reminded me a lot to the point of Natsu and Igneal's relationship. Igneal raised him from a baby. Igneal became his dad, although they weren't biological. I'm pretty sure they weren't biological. It's been a while since I read or watched Fairy Tail, but it was very reminiscent to Shiki and this Demon King fellow who is acting as his grandpa and raising him. He's also Shiki also has powers from that he's inherited from the machines, a bit like how Natsu inherited his power from Igneel. But essentially, Shiki has been raised all his life on this island called I think it was called Granville, this land, this planet, whatever it was in space. He's been raised up on there, and it was a land full of robots. And Shiki has been the only human on there. And one day, Rebecca in her spaceship goes to this land because she is she's a YouTuber. I'm not joking. She is a YouTuber, and I think she's some sort of vlogger. Basically, she went to this land and she's greeted by all these little robots, and they say, "Oh, you're our first customer guest, whatever, in 100 years. Welcome, welcome. We will grant you any wish, whether you want to go on the journey of a hero or live like a princess in a castle. It's all up to you. What is your wish?" And her wish, no word of a lie, was, "Can I have 1 million subscribers on my channel, please?" Yeah, that was her channel. HIRO Mashima knows what's up in the modern day. He knows what the people really want. He knows what is up. Anyway, so what happens is Rebecca, she meets this Shinky guy. They kind of become friends. They didn't hit it off at first, but she then goes back to all these robots, and she finds out that Shiki actually knows all these robots, and all these robots are Shiki's friends. And also, I want to mention, in the flashback, we actually see that Shiki's grandpa, the Demon King, whatever his name was, actually said to Shiki, "Oh, make sure when you grow up you surround yourself with friends who will cry for you," because I can't remember the exact words, but he's saying you need to have friends like that. Make sure you travel around and have friends like that. But years and years pass, he's all grown up now, and he's on this island, and all these robots are his friends, and they all interact, and they have parties, and it's all fun. And basically, also another thing, HIRO Mashima, if you liked Fairy Tail because of his etchiness and lewd drawings, then you'll like Eden Zero as well, because it's just the same how he lewds up Lucy, Rebecca, whatever you want to call her. They're almost the same character at the moment, but they all have a party, and then basically Rebecca goes to bed, and she wakes up and she's been tied to a post, and all these robots are threatening to kill her. They say that there's this king. There's a king guy, not the Demon King, it's someone else. I can't remember his exact name, but he was a king, and he came out with all of these other robots, including one of his best friends who we saw in the flashback. He was Michael. He kind of looks like that little guy from the Grand Magic Games of Fairy Tail, the one with the hat on and the pumpkin face. He looks identical to that, but a robot. And they're all there, and they're threatening to kill this girl for whatever reason. I can't 100% remember it. And Shiki's there, and basically he fights all of these robots with his robotic fist and some sort of gears. They were called I can't remember the name. Ether gears. They were called ether gears, and I can't remember if ether was a thing from Fairy Tail. I'm pretty sure Ethereum was, but I'm not too sure if that's something from Fairy Tail. It's not really relevant, but he's got these ether gears, and it lets him do different things. For example, he can control gravity, he can walk on walls and stuff, and it's wild. It is wild. But anyway, he punches this king because he's shouting, because basically Rebecca's crying out saying, "Oh, he's your friend, why are you doing this?" Because they're all on about killing humans, because they're not tools for humans. They've learned how to think for themselves, and they said they're going to kill all humans, they're going to rule the world and all this. And basically, when Shiki realizes that Rebecca's called him her friend and she's crying for him, that's when it clicks for him, and he destroys all these robots, because he's saying about, I always were told by my grandpa that I need friends who will cry for me, and here they go. Basically, friendship, the power of friendship is back again in Eden Zero, and it saves the day. But one thing I want to touch upon is Shiki punches the absolute hell out of this king, and literally creates a hole in the floor that just goes into space, I think. I'm not too sure, but it's mad. And then he catches Rebecca, and then he says, "Oh, which way is your spaceship?" And he's like, "That way." He's like, "Ah, right, okay." And then he flips the gravity, so instead of falling down, they're then falling that way towards their ship. It's pretty wild. That is creative. I'll give you that, Hiro Mashima. That was pretty creative. And basically, him and Rebecca, then they fly off into space, and he's trying, and he's saying, "Is that where I'm from?" He's saying, "Thank you so much, everyone, for being my friends. I will never forget you." And then we got quite an emotional scene, if I'm not gonna lie, where we then get a look back on the planet afterwards, and we find out that all these robots, they weren't wanting to kill all the humans. They didn't want to take over the world. They actually loved Shiki, and they wanted him, instead of growing up on the island alone with all this potential, they wanted to send him off and have an adventure in space, because one day he would change the fate of the galaxy or something like that. So they brought up this scenario of killing this girl so that he'd go with her and all that. And unfortunately, he was saying that, you know, their batteries, they're about to run out and they're going to die. And we see all the robots dying. This Michael guy, who I think we're going to see more of, because we've got to see more of these robots, because they can't just throw them at us and give them this relationship with Shiki and then kill them off. But they all died as Shiki was kind of looking into the sky, watching Shinki fly away. And I only just met these guys, but I think if any of you guys did read this, it was a little bit emotional. But other than that, that was basically the end of the chapter. If I had to rate it, I don't know what I'd rate it. But one thing I'll say is it was better than I thought it'd be. I kind of went into this with low expectations, and when I saw the first panel when they were talking about dragons and all this, I thought to myself, and friends and dragons, I was thinking, you know, I'm like 2 pages in and it's already exactly like Fairy Tail in a way. But as the chapter rolled on, it's taken the fairy tale, it's got that fairy tale vibe, but you can tell it is something different, if that makes sense. And I did enjoy it, and I will be reading it every week or every month, whatever it is. I'm pretty sure, like I said, it's going to be a monthly series, but I'm not too sure. Anyway, he also confirmed during this chapter that the Fairy Tail anime, the final series, will be in fall of this year. So if any Fairy Tail fans are out there, be excited for that. I don't know if I'll review it. I might do. I have read the end of Fairy Tail. However, I literally just skimmed through all of it, so I only remember certain points. So if you want me to review the final season of Fairy Tail, let me know. I will see you guys in another video. But if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, comment down below, and I'll see you guys in another video. But until then, peace. I messed up that outro so much. Subscribe as well. It's not funny. I'll see you guys in another video. I'll see you guys. Peace.